This is How to Become an Online English Teacher. My name is Maria Mallory, and I'll be answering a lot of the questions and the basic first questions that people have when they're looking for a job online. A little bit about my story and what brought me to teaching English online. I first taught English in Taichung, Taiwan in 2016. So I had a classroom full of kindergartners, and I also taught first and second grade classes once a day. I really loved teaching, but it was exhausting to be in the classroom. In a brick and mortar school, perhaps you're in America and you're not really making the wages that you really think you deserve with all the energy that you're putting in as a teacher. So a lot of teachers do seek a secondary income. Digital education is a booming market, and I didn't really realize this until I started to dig around for some jobs for myself. So I'd like to share with you a little bit of the research that I've done to understand a bit more about digital education in China and other countries. A slight look at the numbers shows that in 2017, the revenue for digital education just in China was $4.5 billion annually, and that's expected by analysts to increase 12 to 15% each year. So that equals massive opportunities for teachers that are looking for a secondary income or just to teach from the comfort of their homes. In just 2021, we're looking at $7 to $8 billion just in China and just online. In 2016, with the rollback of the one-child policy in China, that leads to an even bigger market of young learners. Here are a couple logos of different companies. As I started to look around, I noticed that there were just so many. It was kind of overwhelming. I don't really have a solution for that at the moment, but there are a couple of top companies, and I have two that I ended up working for that I'll talk about later, that really stand out to me. And I guess it really just depends on your preference, but most of them are looking for the same things in their teachers, and they're also providing the same benefits. They're all very similar in that way. There are a couple basic requirements that all of these companies look for their teachers. Number one, first and foremost, is being a native English speaker, because if you have an accent, that is absolutely going to transfer onto the students. Some of them are a little bit more flexible than others, but usually they want you to be a native English speaker. You definitely want to have a bachelor's degree. It doesn't really matter what field. Any field will do, but having a bachelor's is definitely going to put you in the market for most of these positions. And having a TEFL certificate, or Teaching English as a Foreign Language certificate, is also another thing that typically they like for you to have, but may not be a requirement. That's why there's a star next to it. Something else that has the star or the asterisk next to it is having previously worked with children. This is not necessarily a requirement, but it definitely puts you above the rest of your competition, I suppose, when you're looking for jobs and applying for jobs. If you were a nanny for 10 years or a soccer coach for 6 years, that's something that you can say you have experience with children, even if you had never actually formally taught. So it's favorable. And then lastly is living in the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, South Africa, Australia, or New Zealand, pretty much the English-speaking countries of the world, so that you, again, are a native English speaker and do not have an accent. And of course, some of those countries do have accents, but I think it just comes down to the company and how strict they are about who they hire. And one I skipped over, but is pretty obvious, is having a stable and fast internet connection is pretty key. Some of the companies will want you to plug in to an Ethernet cord. Some of them are okay with you just having very fast Wi-Fi speeds. But you really want this to be consistent, because sometimes in China, their internet will go out, and you really don't want to be the reason that you're having IT issues. I mean, if it's on the student's end, that's something that they have to deal with, and they'll usually still pay you for that time that you lost. But you really don't want it to be on your end so that you have a no-show or you don't get paid for the class that you wanted. Obviously, there are some really awesome perks of working from home, and one of those is a flexible schedule and then just being able to work from home and build your schedule as you wish. But I really enjoy interacting with kids of all ages, having class one-on-one time, and just learning more about their country. I've learned so much about China through this process in conversations with these children, and I find it fascinating It's a great use of my time. I enjoy waking up in the morning. I don't ever feel like it's a drag to teach my classes. What's also nice is that most of these companies will provide teaching materials to you. As a teacher in a brick and mortar school, you have to do all of your lesson plans, and that's a huge time suck. But for this, you don't. You just have to review the materials provided, and a corresponding lesson will go with a student based on their progress. So if they're on transportation and they're talking about cars and trucks and subways, then you're going to teach that lesson and the next one and the next one, depending on how many times they will sign up with you. So you just have to make sure that you're prepared for the lesson that you have the next day. But in general, you really are not spending a lot of time at all with preparation. And then you make approximately $20 per hour. This is pretty standard. So that means that equates to about 2 classes per hour. Usually they're each a half an hour long, if not a little bit shorter than that. And you do get some incentives for signing up for more classes if you decide to do more in a week, or you do a short notice class. You get some financial incentives to do those things, and you'll learn a little bit more about that once you start doing more research. What's also great about making money with these programs is obviously being able to refer other teachers who are excited about this job and want to be teachers for them and sign up through your link. And then you get a little bit of a financial bonus, usually about $100 per teacher. And that is just a passive income, so it really does help to pay the bills if you're not opening up a lot of slots that month or you just didn't have the time that you usually did. So a look at my jobs in particular. I have 2 Chinese companies that I work for that I'd like to talk a little bit about. The first of which is called VIPKID. They are a leader in the TEFL online market. They have been around quite a while, and they're always innovating. They're always growing. They have a ton of teachers and a ton of students that sign up with them. So visibility for you as a teacher is a little bit more difficult. You really do have to sell yourself if you want to get noticed, but it is a great platform, and it is really nice to be in one of the best companies out there. So with VIPKID, you have one-on-one classes with your students for about 25 minutes in length. And what's nice is you can sometimes have the same student sign up with you, so you can build relationships with them. You get to know them a lot better. You can curate their feedback and their lesson plans according to who they are and what they like and what you start to learn about them. So it's really fun in that regard. The short notice classes are really nice because you can open up your schedule. If you decide not to go out on a Friday night, you can just say, I'd like to make money. I'm going to open up a couple slots and we'll see if anybody signs up. And if they do sign up, then you get an extra $2 for those classes. So it really is a nice incentive if you decide to just change up your schedule really last minute. And lastly, I talked a little bit about it, but the parents choose the teacher. So you get onto the platform and then you make a little video of yourself and kind of sell yourself as a teacher. You make yourself look really fun, very energetic and upbeat, have a nice background, etc., have good lighting, so that these parents think you're worth the money that they're spending on this platform. If they don't think you're worth the money, then you may not get a lot of bookings. And sometimes it does take a little bit of time to establish yourself as a teacher, so I would say don't quit your job the very first month that you sign up to be an online English teacher, because you just might not get the income that you would hope for. My second job, Qkids, I signed up for actually because I wasn't getting as many bookings as I would have preferred with VIPKID. Things were steady, but I had some time slots that were just not filling up, and it was kind of frustrating because I had the time that I wanted to work, yet I wasn't getting the money that I was looking to get. And so I looked for a secondary company, and it's nice to be able to have that freedom to balance my schedule between the two and to choose when I work a little bit more and, just to have a bit more of a steady income. I really enjoy Qkids, and so I'm very glad that I did pursue them. They're a bit of a newer company, but they have definitely been doing great things lately and are always improving. As you can see in this screenshot, It's a class size of 1 to 4 students that sign up with you. You don't have control over that, but I do really enjoy having 4 students because they have a lot of talk time where they're practicing with one another, having conversations, and you can drag them onto the screen, and it's much more interactive that way, and it goes very fast as a class. So it is 30 minutes in length, but it goes quicker. I think that the software with Qkids is second to none. I've said this in my previous video, and I do a classroom tour if you would like to check that out. That is definitely something interesting to take a peek behind the curtain and see what you'll be working with. The software is so interactive that it makes class go like a breeze. I pretty much just facilitate, and the students are having a lot of fun. It's like they're playing games like bingo or touching things on the screen, finding things on the screen. There's skits and there's stickers, as you can see. There's a rainbow and a guitar, and they get not diamonds for their progress. So I really enjoy that, and I think the students do too. What's nice about Qkids too is you have a coach who is always going to be there to contact whenever you have questions or concerns, and you download WeChat, and I think that that's actually being rolled out. They're going to have an in-app coaching team now, so you can just contact them through the Qkids software instead of having WeChat, but it's still really nice either way that they do it. You know that you have the support that you need whenever you need it. If something's going wrong with the app, or a student maybe is misbehaving, you just can always reach out to that person that you know by name and that they know you. So it's really nice to have that relationship. Classes being booked for you is also extremely nice because, like I said, with VIPKID, you kind of have to sell yourself. And so with Qkids, you open up your time slots, and typically those will be filled. If you get a standby class, then you still get some financial incentive for being there on time and being on standby. But for the most part, the classes that you open up will go to you. And so when you want to work, you will be making that money. Quickly, I'll just talk about a day in the life. For me, I will wake up about 20 minutes before classes, make sure I don't look too sleepy, maybe dust on some makeup, make sure my hair looks alright, and make sure my background is ready to go. I'll check my internet connection and make sure that there's no software updates or anything that would make me late to class. Maybe restart my computer if I have to, etc. Get out some props for the class. If it's a winter class, I'll get out a beanie and mittens and things that correspond with the vocabulary of the day. That way it just makes it a little bit more interactive. I teach. So I will usually teach back to back to back to back. You get about a 5-minute break in between classes, so you might just have to run and go to the bathroom really quickly, or just run and fill your water back up. But for the most part, it is pretty nice to just knock it out, and then you get all your errands done for the rest of the day, and you have freedom for the rest of your day. These classes are typically going to be in the early morning or the late night hours because of China's schedule. It's about a 12-hour difference. So, if it's 4 p.m. for them and they're getting home from school and they need their after-school lessons, you are up at 4 a.m. teaching them. And so that's up to you, but it is really nice to just wake up really early and get stuff done that you have to do, and then go about your day. And then afterwards, within 24 hours, you have to write reports about your students' progress. They're very short, so it's really not a huge time suck, but you do have to just kind of tell the parents how their student did that day and what you learned and what you talked about. And if you have any assessments, exams, then you have to obviously grade those and grade how they did. My tips for any teacher that's looking to get one of these jobs: always keeping the students engaged with props. I am kind of a minimalist teacher, and so I don't like getting a ton of cheap props and wasting my money on these things. But at the end of the day, a small whiteboard really helps, or finger puppets, or a little hand clapper that claps for their progress of the student. Those go a really long way, and you can do a lot of different games with the whiteboard, and just that interactivity, making that classroom a little bit more fun is really, really important. If you have your regulars, giving personalized rewards is actually really important. Say a student meets with you every single week and they really like Star Wars. You really should make your reward system something that they're gonna really look forward to. Instead of just stars every time, you know, make it a little bit more personalized so that that student will smile and feel like you are really listening to them. Third, setting up a colorful background is pretty much a necessity now. For VIPKID, it always was. You had to have a background, and that can be on an easel, on a wall, on a blanket behind you, whatever you can do to make the classroom look a little bit more interesting. Qkids also recently told teachers that we were supposed to have backgrounds as well, so I just use the same one between both, and I don't personalize it towards, Qkids or VIPKIds. I just make it very neutral. It says Teacher Maria, and it has a couple things on it just to make it colorful. Lastly, having a smile on your face is so important. Of course, nonverbal language is so important in the classroom, but the most important thing of all of those is just keeping that smile on your face so that you bring the energy that you expect back from the students to the classroom every single time. Make sure you're smiling. It really helps class go a lot better. If you found this video useful, here are my links to QKidz and VIPKID. They're not active links, so you'll have to type them in, and I'll put them in the YouTube comment section. But please use these if you found this video helpful. If you have any questions at all, I'm always available via email at mariajacob@gmail.com. So I hope to hear from you, and I really wish you luck on your journey as an English teacher.